Good morning. Welcome back. Happy Friday. First Friday of December. And for once, Texas will actually be celebrating the first Friday in December in Atlanta, Georgia, the ATL stomp as Texas gets ready to play against Georgia this weekend in the rematch. So we're going to talk everything about Georgia. There's also a Justice Terry conversation that needs to be had. And, when I had this guy on the first time, hadn't really spoken to him outside of like through emails, didn't know what to expect, but everybody ended up loving Anthony Dasher, aka Dash, right? For first they were like, who's this Southern boy that they got on here? And everybody's like, oh snap, we are from the South, we love him. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it because we got a lot to discuss. Let me bring in Dash. And by the way, Dash, I am so happy that nobody has shamed you to change your background. I am happy that you are who you are. To thy own self be true. Happy Friday to you, brother.
Happy Friday, Onward, man. Hey, SEC, buddy. It's time.
It absolutely is time. All right. Well, Dash, Texas and Georgia are competing in a variety of ways, but let's talk about the competition that's going to happen this morning. Both of these teams are fighting for Justice Terry, the five-star defensive lineman out of Georgia, who pushes his recruitment. It's rather an announcement back to today, which means who can give me more money. What are you hearing from the Georgia side as relates to Terry, as we're just a couple of hours before the announcement?
Well, on our little group chat, UGASports group chat, just about 10 minutes ago, from what we understand, as of 9:30 a.m. this morning, Texas had not spoken with Justice today.
Uh-oh.
Today, now, mind you. And then again, that does not mean they will not speak to him. I'm not speaking with him right now, for example, or maybe later before that noon, press conference takes place. But I do believe this is going to be very close. Texas is giving him, from what we understand, a lot to think about. Georgia, money people still feel confident, but admit anything can happen. And as we've seen already this year, in recruiting, you just do not know really until that name is on the dotted line and it's sent into the school, because just too many crazy things can happen. But I do think Texas is in it, and we'll know the answer here. What time is about 10:04 Eastern time. We'll know that in a couple of hours.
Will you guys have somebody there live streaming this?
Yes, we will. Jed May will be there. So, anybody listening to your show, just on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it now, follow Jed May. He will have a live stream, from Manchester High School, and everybody can see for themselves what he does.
Dash, do me a favor. Can you look on X and see what his official name is on X? Because some people have Jed May 2486 balloons red. What's his official handle so everybody can follow
him? Yeah, just let me grab it. I'll tell you.
No problem. No problem.
Let me see here. The magic of computers here. Let's see. I'll tell you what, let me post it in let's see. Can I post it in your chat there? I can do that.
Go ahead and do it.
Let's see. Here we go.
Take your time, buddy.
Yep.
All right, I'll go ahead and let me do that, and then what I'll make sure I do.
There you go.
All right, perfect. So then what we'll do here is I'll do this. I'll put this in the chat here for everybody who's in the chat, and then I actually will put that on the screen for everybody as well. So we'll do two things, and then watch the beauty of this. Let me watch what
about that.
All right, so I'm gonna put that. We already got that in the chat. And then I will add him here.
While you're doing that, real quick, funny story on Justice. I don't know if I told you this or not, but on our flight back from Austin for the game earlier, who was sitting just to my left, about 1 foot away, but Justice Terry.
Really?
He's back with us on the plane back from Austin to Atlanta. And Jed, this is even more hilarious, actually interviewed him getting off the plane in line, getting his luggage. Standing
Now
in
you
line
could have
with people,
scripted that better.
standing in line with people all around. There were, of course, there were a ton of Georgia fans. Everybody was like doing this number right here, trying to hear what Justice was saying. So
What did he say?
Yeah, I mean, really not a whole lot. Just how much he enjoyed the trip. He actually had his little bag of food goodies he had brought back from the school, and apparently he likes gummy bears, because there was a bunch of gummy bears in his little goodie bag.
By the way, out of curiosity,
Yeah.
what flight were you? What airline were you guys on?
It was American Airlines.
Okay, all right. I want to know, that you guys are Spirit or Frontier, or you actually did something, a little bit better. So I just wanted to check on that.
No, we did American. Actually, we usually fly Delta, but this is one of those rare occasions we took a different airline.
Okay, all right. So you see it in the chat. That if you guys want to check that out, tell everybody though. Just give everybody kind of an idea about Terry. It's easy to say 5-star. We're going to assume he's good, but so that goes without saying. But give me your breakdown of him as a prospect. Why he's so key? Why? What's so special about him?
Well, just first thing, just the eye test. I mean, this guy's a brick house. I mean, you want somebody who's going to come in and play that zero technique. I mean, this is what you draw up. I mean, he's extremely physical. Just got great hands. He's got great foot movement. I mean, he's to me, he's just a total package as far as a defensive lineman. Somebody from that zero technique can really just lock down a double team. Somebody can just make your whole defense better just by his mere presence. So this is would be a huge get for Georgia, Texas, whoever else may where to get him. But it's down, in my opinion, down between Georgia and Texas right now. But he's definitely a legit player.
By the way, Chris put in a super chat. This is directed towards me. Onward's next question to Sark will be limited to 10 words or less.
I heard that yesterday.
Yeah. So I've been getting a lot of feedback for asking Sark 4 questions yesterday. People give me props, and people are like, "What the hell?" But let me explain what happened. So, Dash, you'll appreciate where I'm coming from on this. So, Sark, they didn't hold a signing day press conference on Wednesday.
Georgia didn't either.
Right? So they were too busy with stuff. So, in my mind, I'm thinking there's some questions that I want to ask that after the game probably is not the best time to ask. Like if Texas loses, I can't ask him about the recruiting class, right? It just seems like it seems odd timing, odd placement. Transfer portal opens on Monday as well. Again, if win or lose, it seems like an odd time, because you're like, hey, coach, you guys lost to Georgia. What about the transfer portal? Then it seems like I'm trying to say something bad about the team. I felt like my only opportunity to get these questions was yesterday, and I just said I'm just going to ask them all. I mean, as a fellow journalist, you empathize with me a little bit, right?
Well, I asked Kirby recruiting questions too yesterday. I mean, there was a couple of them. I mean, again, we had no idea what he thought about the class, about some key players, and of course, we want to ask him about some of these, last second decisions that guys, make, and so we kind of want to know where Georgia thought it stood with. Again, without him, of course, he can't say anything about Justice, until he signs, but kind of wanted to get an idea how he felt about teams coming in late, that kind of thing. And he gave a pretty good, answer about that, and how Georgia likes to, think the relationships that built with guys will hold up. But again, as we've seen, a lot already this year, money talks, especially late offers that come in. Sometimes kids get offers they can't refuse. So that's why it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here just in a couple of hours with Justice.
Let me ask you this before we get into, there's a couple of things. Someone wants to know, is Auburn out for Justice? Is it basically down to Georgia and Texas?
In my opinion, it's down to Georgia and Texas. I mean, Auburn, I know, is still lurking a little bit, but from what we understand, it's Georgia and Texas right now.
Okay. There's going to be let me get Matt because Matt's got something in here. listen, it's from SEC Matt, by the way, who once was Big 12 Matt, and then he changed it a few years ago to get ahead of it. So, but
Prop to Matt.
Matt, hey, that last game was no shortage of turnovers on either side of the ball. Carson Beck, went Carson Beck, and he's like, oh, I got 3 interceptions in me. And then of course Texas had the turnovers as well. Do you think in part 2, do you think turnovers will be the deciding factor tomorrow?
I think it'll be a big one. I mean, whoever wins this game certainly can't turn the ball over, in my opinion, more than the other, team does. Now, I don't personally, I don't expect we're going to see the amount of turnovers we saw, in Austin that first time. I think this will be a cleaner game in a lot of respects. I mean, obviously Texas has been playing extremely well, since that loss to Georgia, and Carson Beck too is played very good football these last 3 weeks. I think he's gone out like 115, 117 passes straight without a pick. He's been playing like the Carson Beck people thought he would be before the season started. So I'm not thinking it's going to be quite as bad with the turnovers as we saw the last time, but again, that'll just make them, when they do happen, I'll make them even bigger, as far as determine the outcome of this game, because I think both teams are going to play well tomorrow.
So Dash, let me ask you this: I've struggled with wrapping my head around Georgia. When you and I talked, you said what?
You're not the only one.
Okay, it's fair enough. Okay, it's your life. Going into that Texas game, I the thought was Texas was the better team, right? Yeah, I think that was your consensus. I thought the same thing. Yeah. Georgia had, that struggled against Kentucky. It was just not, didn't know what to expect. And then they go and win by 15 points, which I don't think, you and I talked a little bit at the game. I don't think you saw that coming. I didn't see that coming at all. What might be different in part 2 as relates to this game? Because as poorly as Texas played, Georgia played poorly as well. It still won by double digits. What could be different as far as an outcome is concerned with this game?
Well, the biggest, other than turnover, the biggest thing I'm looking at with this game as far as Georgia goes, man, Georgia has stunk stopping the run the last 2 ball games. I mean, they have absolutely stunk. And I watched that, Texas A&M game, and watch how how Texas line was moving. The Aggies just completely out of the way, and running backs picking up huge chunks of yards. Georgia has averaged giving up 242 yards the last on the ground the last 2 games against UMass of all people and Georgia Tech, which historically has been a very good rushing team. So I know Georgia did a very good job last time holding Texas just 60 or 70 yards, whatever it was, on the ground. I mean, can they do that again? I don't know. Just Georgia has not been consistent with the run defense. And from what I've seen the last 2 weeks, to me, that's the biggest concern for Georgia is how well they do against the run. Because if Texas runs the ball like they did against A&M against Georgia, that's going to be a problem for the Bulldogs.
But let me ask you this, and this team better than I do and better than most. Is Georgia one of these teams that, when it comes to a big game, like a Texas game, an SEC championship game, do you almost have to throw out whatever you think you saw from them previously? Because from what I'm noticing, it seems like they when they need to, they rise to the occasion.
Well, we've seen that this year. In the first game of the year, Georgia played Clemson at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and after a kind of a sluggish first half, Georgia went and dominated that ball game. And I agree against Texas. Again, like you said, I didn't see that coming. I think I picked Texas to win like 42-28. And Georgia turned around and just plays the defensive game of its season. So I think maybe there could be something to be said that Georgia plays its best football against its best teams, unless that team is Alabama, of course, and Georgia will just find a way to throw it away or just play like dog, like they did in Tuscaloosa earlier this year. But otherwise, I mean, Georgia has since Kirby has been there, has played well in these big games, ACC championship types. I mean, they throttled LSU, and LSU was in the last time. Of course, they beat Auburn. I believe it was 18 when they went to their first playoff after Auburn had beaten Georgia pretty handily during the regular season. So they do have a history of rising to the occasion. Again, unless that team is Alabama. So we'll see. I mean, like I said, I think both teams are going to play very well tomorrow. And also, as we talked about earlier, the turnovers, I think, will be a big difference. And also how effective, Texas running game is going to be. That's going to be the big key.
The thing that we noticed the most previously is how well Georgia played defensively. That linebacker for Georgia, I mean, he looked like the second coming of Ray Lewis. I was like, who the hell is this? And he was out of control, balling out of control. That defense since then, have you seen that same defense, or was that kind of a one-off kind of anomaly of a performance?
We've seen flashes, but nothing close to what we saw against Texas. One thing of note in this ball game that Georgia I'm
thinking of Jalen Walker was the guy.
Jalen Walker, yeah. Jalen just, I'm starting to see some first-round projections for him, too. So he's a guy who very legit. I mean, it was a surprise to see him come on and have that kind of game, like he did. This guy's that good. But something, Georgia will have as well for this ball game is Smile Munden. Smile did not play in the first game against Texas. Smile is, in fact, I know he's the best inside backer that Georgia has. Someone who can play from sideline to sideline, has tremendous speed, and even though he plays inside, is probably one of the more effective players that contain the edge. So that's going to be something that's going to be, I think, big for Georgia's favor. On the other hand, Julian Humphrey, a Texas guy, announced he was going to go into portal a few days ago. Julian was one of the starting cornerbacks against Texas in that first game. Had a pretty decent game. He will not be playing. He's not with the team any longer. He's gone. His locker's been cleaned out. Oh, so that's going to leave Dalen Everett, Daniel Harris, and True one and a couple of freshmen to be Georgia's main. Ellis Robinson was the guy I'm thinking about, former 5-star guy. It's probably Georgia's main cornerbacks in this game, and against that receiving core, it could be very interesting as well.
Yeah, he had two. I got the stats up. He had 2 pass breakups in that game, and you also had a tackle. And of course, they did a great job, obviously, of limiting Texas from there. Any indication why the timing of it? Because I know he was asked about. He was asked about it yesterday. Didn't seem like he wanted him to talk about it. But and by the way, sidebar for a second on Kirby Smart and his press conferences. Why does he overcomplicate some of the questions that are being asked to him? Like, why does he act like he's always I don't understand the question.
Yeah.
What are you trying to? It seems like you can ask, hey, Kirby, what do you think about facing Texas? Well, I don't know what you mean about facing Texas. Like, why does he before I get back to the Humphrey, why is he overcomplicated when he's asked something?
He's done that as long as I've known Coach. He's trying to think of a nice way to say this. Kirby thinks he's the smartest guy in the room in a lot of respects, and I think just sometimes, again, I've seen other coaches do the same thing, but he does that on a pretty regular basis with writers. So it's nothing that I was shocked about. And I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm not put off about it anymore like I was earlier, but that's just Kirby being Kirby, and I just kind of learned to accept that.
Okay, all right. It's just the thing I've noticed the most when people ask questions, and I'm like, I don't even think this was a trick question. I think somebody asked him about Quinn Ewers yesterday, and hey, how did Quinn respond in the second half, and just your thoughts on Quinn? And he's like, well, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. What are you asking me? I'm like, you just asked it. Like, what are you doing, Kirby? All right. Anyway, Humphrey, the timing of it. Any particular reason why he's just not going to ride this thing out?
Say that one more time, Anwar. Sorry, I got distracted for a second. I got distracted for one quick second there. Sorry.
Oh, I thought you were doing a Kirby impression.
No.
No, tell me the timing of Humphrey going into the portal now, as opposed to before, as opposed to waiting.
Yeah, I don't really understand why anybody announces, now while they're going into the portal. Why not just wait to the 9th? But he wanted to go ahead and get that, out there, and apparently that didn't, sit too well with a lot of people. We even asked Malachi Starks about that, early after that happened, and Malachi, at first he kind of started out, well, that's a really strange situation. Like then he kind of backed off a little bit and said, well, just kind of thing, that kind of thing happens. But I know players, some of his teammates weren't too happy with the timing of it. I mean, to basically leave your team before the biggest game of the year, I don't think it sat too well with a lot of folks.
All right. So let's go back to maybe that Georgia offense, pass offense versus this Texas secondary. Texas was very, Carson Beck had one of the worst games of his career against Texas. His passer rating was in the 70s, 77 point something. He had 3 interceptions. I mean, he played god awful. And that had a lot to do with Texas and the way we were doing that. How do you think Carson fares in a rematch going against the secondary, which is viewed as one of the best in the country?
Yeah, you can't have those mistakes. But despite those picks, though, he did after that touchdown. After the bottle throwing incident, he drove Georgia right back down the field. And all that crazy as that atmosphere was, and they scored. Scored was a big touchdown. So I don't think what happened earlier is going to affect him mentally or anything like that. But again, it's like we talked about earlier. If Carson goes out and throws 3 picks a game, that's not going to be good for Georgia. But like I said, he's played very, very well these last 3 ball games. Really mixing his throws around, completing passes like 10, 11, 12 different guys. He's utilizing what weapons he has, to the best of his ability. And again, if he can do that, then maybe Georgia can have some semblance of offensive success in this ball game.
Let's talk about maybe that the defense. Do you think they can replicate what they did as far as that disruption is as disruptive as they were? Do you think that could be replicated? Like if you're Georgia, do you say I've got the blueprint, or do you have to say, there was a lot of things that happened? I mean, because the short field, so on and so forth. Like, can they replicate that and do that again?
I'm sure they will try. Whether they can be successful, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Texas is going to know what to expect now, and I'm quite sure that offensive line, ever since that game happened, they're probably really kind of chomping at a bit for another, opportunity against Georgia to kind of prove that wasn't, who those guys are. So I think Georgia will have to come up with something different. Maybe again, some things maybe try to see if it's some of the success kind of still holds water, but I think they'll have to still mix things up, and I don't think they can go in the exact same game plan and expect to be successful. But I'm also wondering too. I mean, Quinn's still a little bit banged up, correct? I mean, he's not. How's he moving around right now?
It's okay. He's dealing with a high ankle sprain at this moment, and he's also has re-injured his oblique. So he's about as banged up as you can be, just battling through.
Yeah, that could dictate again what Georgia will maybe try to do. So, I mean, if Texas decides it wants to go with Arch in this ball game for maybe a little extended time, then maybe that's something Texas can have success with. Again, we saw what Haynes King did for Georgia Tech, and not saying Haynes King is Arch Manning or vice versa, anything like that. But they do a lot of the same things. I think very well both are just tough as nails, kids and the players, and again those are the type of guys that Georgia historically has had trouble with, guys who can run and pass and do the RPOs and that sort of deal. So curious to see if Quinn's not able to operate like he wants to in this ball game, will they turn to Arch a little bit earlier? Because again, that type of quarterback has had success against Georgia in the past.
And it looks like, I mean, whenever I've talked to, when we've heard Kirby Smart, he's had high praise for Manning. Like a couple of times, he's people may not have been familiar with it, Dash, but for those who hadn't heard it, at least 2 times over the last couple of 2 weeks, or maybe 2 times this week, if I'm being maybe 2 times this week, he's had a lot of high praise for Arch Manning.
Oh, Kirby loves Arch Manning. Arch, I'm sure everybody knows, made several visits to UGA, and Georgia was in the picture, to sign him. I mean, they were a serious threat to do that. So, yeah, I mean, Kirby has a lot of respect for the whole family. I mean, he and Peyton are good buddies, and Kirby still gives Peyton aggravation all the time about picking him off in the Tennessee-Georgia game back, I think it was 1996, whenever it was, way back when. So, yeah, they've got, again, a tremendous respect for the family, a tremendous respect for Arch and what he can do.
Okay, Dash, I'm going to ask you maybe two more, and I'm going to let you get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this on the screen for you, so you can see the latest of the rankings. If Georgia loses to Texas,
Mm-hmm.
does Georgia still need to be a playoff team with 3 losses?
Yeah, I think so. No doubt. I mean, I think again, I'm a you know, your son may think I'm a homer saying this, but you look at the schedule that Georgia's played, the teams they have beaten. I think there's no question they deserve to be a playoff team. In fact, I think if they lose this ball game, as long as they don't get throttled or anything like that, I mean, I still think they host, and I think they will. I mean, I say it's for example, 24-21, 27-20 games, like something like that. I don't think you'll see Georgia fall lower than 8th and still ahead of Tennessee. Because what just based on what we've heard from what if you want. I won't get to what I think about some of the stuff the committee has been doing this year, but one thing I do halfway believe, Ward Manuel, when he talks about it, I mean, they're not going to really kind of punish a team for making its conference championship game and really look at that real hard as far as being a big feather in that team's cap. So even with a close loss to Texas, I don't think you'll see Georgia fall any farther than number 8, and they will. I think they still get to host a playoff game if that were to happen.
Is there just kind of from an outside perspective, is there argument to be made for South Carolina? Because you've heard Beamer all week long.
Oh, yeah.
He has not been happy.
Yeah.
Is 6 wins in a row for South Carolina? Is there argument to be made for them in the CFP?
Excuse me, cough choked up here. There is, but man, when you got those 2 losses to Alabama and Ole Miss, that just really makes it hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're supposed to look at the entire, picture, but man, those losses are hard to overcome when you're talking about jumping 2 teams for a spot. But I understand where Shane's coming from. I mean, again, simply because there's been no clear answer by this committee about what they're looking at, what counts the most, and what should be this and that. I get where he's coming from. But just from the head-to-head standpoint, man, I just personally think it makes it tough for them to jump in.
Is there anybody, when you look at this playoff bracket, you say to yourself that team should not be in the playoffs?
Oh boy. Maybe Indiana. I mean, just based on who, again, getting back to that strength of schedule thing.
Yeah.
Who they've played, I would highly question. That one, but otherwise. Arizona State is definitely not a world beater, but they're probably going to win their conference. They will earn that right. But Indiana would probably be the one I would kind of raise my eyebrows at a little bit.
I've theorized this, Dash, and I'll let you go. Is the SEC has been trying to figure out, okay, should they move up to 9 conference scheduled games? I feel like this year has shown them don't bother. Don't take the risk. The less is more. Just get the wins, right? We can pretty much torpedo the whole 9 conference game schedule.
I think so. If you would asked me this question a year ago, I say you damn right they're going to go to 9 games. I mean, SEC, they're going to best conference in the country. They can withstand anything. They can do anything. But after this year and so many questions about how that may not be just 3 league teams getting in and even that to some may be a question. So yeah, I definitely think we can forget about the 9-game schedule and I think it's probably for the best right now.
What's your score prediction for tomorrow?
I picked Texas 24-21. Okay. Now, I know in your prediction for us, you picked Georgia, so I don't know.
I'm not falling for this banana in the tail type thing again, man. You guys, you sold me a bill of goods. You told me I was going to be able to drive this car down the road, and as soon as I made 2 rights, the whole damn transmission fell out. I'm not buying this thing from you, Dash. I heard it before. I'm not buying it again.
Well, Georgia fans are probably happy that I picked Georgia to lose because my picks have been just suck ass. I won't say the word terrible this year. So maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm subconsciously doing them a favor by picking Texas. But seriously, now I've just been very impressed by what the Longhorns have done this year, how they played since that loss to Georgia. And Georgia again has still not played a complete ball game all year long. Again, the Texas game they did not by a long shot offensively, and there's too many mistakes. So if Georgia puts together finally puts it together, and yeah, I think they've got a chance to win. But I have not seen any ounce of consistency from this team all season long. So that's why I went with Texas.
Make sure you guys, if you want to watch the Justice Terry announcement in a little bit, you see this thing here on X. UGASports is got you covered. They will have their live Jed May _on X. Dash, I'll see you tomorrow morning in the press box, or tomorrow afternoon in the press box, buddy.
Make sure you get some of the soft serve ice cream at the Ben's. That's the best thing they got going for it.
Fair enough, sir. Soft serve ice cream it is. There he is, Dash. Thank you so much, brother. I'll see you soon. Y'all love him. He's a friend of the show. Dash is here. Get Dash off. Now Dash is no longer here. And make sure you guys check out Jed May as well. He's such a fun guy. He's such a fun guy to be around. All y'all, all us Southerners. Everybody had, Dash when he drove, Dash when he went to school. Oh, Dash had a rifle rack. Oh, back in the day when you had a rifle rack, when Dash had his rifle rack with his rifles, and he drove it to the high school. He's a good dude. So I'm glad he was able to come on the show and get him in there. I tried to get SEC Mike in here, but we'll get him in here next week. And I know he owes me something from a bet. I got to go back and look at it, but I know he lost a preseason bet. I'm pretty sure he's supposed to dye his mustache burnt orange. It was right before the season I had him on, and he said something. So in any case, I got to get that on there. Eric sells homes, DFW. If you're looking for a house in the DFW area, you don't have to look any further than my main man, El Presidente himself. Mi gente, you go in and check him out. Looking to buy a home, looking to sell a home, whatever it is, my man has got you covered. Again, we're getting to that time of year where you think to yourself, what am I going to do? Well, go ahead and think about this, especially if you are out there as well. Eric sells homes, DFW. And then there's that specs thing too. Specs. Trying to go out there. Oh, I got a specs for y'all too. Let me put this thing on, and I got a specs for that as soon as we come back. Wait. Check this out.
No matter what you're needing, Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs.
So check this out, y'all. Check this out. Let me go back to my folder. All right. So let me tell you how Unc won 50 off of the Opinion Sports Show. Y'all know him. He's an Oklahoma fan that would come in here. Very opinionated. So we made a bet before the season. $50 bet. So his idea, I had to pick 3 games that I thought Oklahoma would lose, and he had to pick 3 games that he thought Texas would lose, and then we used Texas OU as the tiebreaker. So if it was 3-3, Texas OU was the tiebreaker. Obviously, I'm going to take Texas. He's going to take OU, right? So I start off I already got the Michigan win, had that down. I can't remember where Ole Miss defeated Oklahoma. I had that down. And then, of course, Texas already beat Oklahoma. So I had the tiebreaker already set. Now, then he took the Georgia game. So he already had one. And then somehow Alabama choked. And then next thing I knew, we was tied. Now, I had the tiebreaker no matter what. But suddenly we was at 1-1. So I needed last week to happen. And both things hit. LSU beat the hell out of Oklahoma. And he was wrong about Texas A&M defeating Texas, which meant Unc got a $50 spot to go out to Specs. Y'all stop it, Money B. So what I was able to do 2 things. So the first thing I was able to do, I got myself a small bottle of Don Julio. Don Julio. I got a small bottle of Don Julio. I used the $50 wisely because I didn't want to go there. And then I got a little wine. Can y'all see that? What is it? You can't see it as well. It's a Moscato Vineyards. It's a Cab Sauvignon, right? If you can't. Oh, there it is. It's a little bit dark. Nonetheless, so I was able to do 50 on that. So I got a gift here, and for y'all, for me, once again, that's year number 2 that I have won $50 off of the Opinion Sports Show. Year number 2, trying to bet against me and these Longhorns. When are they ever going to learn? When are they ever going to learn? So let's do a cheers. Let's do a toast. We're going to do a toast at 9:30 in the morning. We're going to do a toast first and foremost to your Longhorns defeating Georgia on Saturday. That's going to be the first toast there. Secondly, this is going to be a toast. This is all inclusive to all the haters of your Longhorns, Aggie fans who are always upset about you, and to the Oklahoma fans who talked all that crap before the season, and they got to get ready for the Alamo Bowl or whatever the hell they're going to. We won't care. We won't be there. To all of them, and to you for watching this show, salute. Stop effing with us. Suckers. Okay, Dash was really cool. A couple of things I got to talk to you guys about real quick. First of all, get ready for the post-game show that we're going to have on Saturday at SEC Championship. I will be there on site, on the scene. I'll be ready to go. Jeff Ketchum will be there. Jason Sukamel, Chad Hastings. 2 minutes left. Come on in, man. Last week, Texas A&M, I think we had like at least 5,000 people watching live. It was crazy. So make sure you join us there. And also, if you're looking for a spot to watch the game, hey man, you want to be around some people, don't want to be around yourself. You want to get into the scene, go out to the TCH Social. They got $1 draft beers. They got $2 jellyfishes. You mentioned Orange Bloods. You get $1 monthly membership, your first hour play on TCH. So if you're looking for a spot, so you say to yourself, man, I just want to get out the house, man, go out to TCH. That place is kind of designed to be more like a sports book. You don't even have to play games. They have the big old screens in there. It's like a Vegas sports book. I haven't been to Vegas in a while. So in any case, go out there. And by the way, I'm just going to continue to tell you, if you are going to go out there and enjoy $1 draft beers and $2 jellyfishes and all that kind of good stuff, just do me a favor. Let's be smart. Get yourself an Uber, get yourself a Lyft. Don't risk it. We don't need no DUIs. It's even if you don't get into an accident, that's like a $10,000 thing, man. So we don't need no kind of problems in our life. Also want to make sure, just quick housekeeping things. I got to get out of here. I mean, it's a busy weekend for me, so I got to get out of here. Remember, next week, the schedule is coming out. December the 11th, the 2025 schedule will be revealed. And as I told you before, I'll say it again. Make sure as soon as the schedule comes out, book your hotels right away for if you're thinking about traveling. If you're thinking about it, you can cancel it. But I'm telling you, the SEC is notorious for jacking up the rates for these road games. And you don't think when they know Texas is coming to these towns that they're not going to try to do a robbery on you? Robbery now. Get on the ground. Give me your wallet and hush your mouth. They're going to jack you. So what I need you to do is get ahead of them. Don't let them take advantage of you. Book your stuff right away. As soon as this stuff comes out on Wednesday night, especially like Texas OU weekend, you know how they try to do us dirty then, right? So make sure you do that as well. We've got a tons of stuff going on. Again, Justin Terry is going to announce at 11 o'clock. You guys have that thing as well. I'll make sure that I don't miss any super chats that are in here. Hold on, I did. My man Tracy came in here. He goes, tell him to give you 50 in cash so you can use it at Magic City this weekend. Let us know how the legs and thighs, the lemon pepper wings, right? Well, first of all, Tracy, he already gave me the 50 in the Cash App, so you already know he's black. So I already got that. Okay, so we clear on that. I got the money, but I already spent it. I spent it yesterday, like I said, on my Don Julio, on a nice little Christmas gift. So I am good to go as far as that is concerned. But thank you, Tracy, man. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're gonna have a good weekend. Money B said, I bet she's not gonna bet you next year. Oh, Money B, trust me. The thing about it is when you've lost twice, I can tell he's very good. First of all, props to him. I'll give him props. I'll give him props. Props to him for paying up. Like, at least I don't have to call him out. So props to him for paying up. Second thing is he's going to bet me next year because he's going to be delusional. He's going to think Oklahoma is going to be better next year. He's going to find the reasons why he thinks Oklahoma is better. So, it's like the offseason is a great thing. So they're going to have all these offseason reports, and they're going to tell themselves that things are better and they've learned better. The new OC is this and blah, 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 blah. Lies. And next thing you know, Oklahoma's going to go out next year. They're going to get their ass kicked, and Brent Venables is going to get fired. That's what's going to happen. But it's okay, because guess what? If he's going to give me 50 every Christmas, where I could go out and buy myself a little bottle and some damn gifts, well, shoot, he can come back. I will absolutely do it. All right, y'all. Y'all enjoy yourselves. I got to go to the ATL this weekend. I got to head out. So y'all be good. Remember what I always say, live each day like it was your last, because one day it will be. Go out and do something special for yourself. I keep telling you this, man. Do something special for yourself. I did something special for myself on the compliments of old boy. But you go out and do something special for yourself because you absolutely deserve it. Don't wait nobody to celebrate you. Like my girl Catherine, don't wait for anybody to take you out on a date. Go out this weekend, treat yourself to something nice. You guys absolutely deserve it. I ain't talking about Cash App, but Cash App is weird. I ain't never seen brothers with I don't see enough brothers with Venmo. All I gotta say. All right, intro for the outro. Y'all take care. Be good. Hopefully your Longhorns pull it off. I'll see you tomorrow night. Peace.